Well, folks, World War II came upon us. The sneaky Japanese attacked Darwin, and we mobilised these things over our Ansons. We had some at Amberley, we had some at Archerfield, and we're teaching people to fly them, but it's not about flying. You've got to go and drop bombs on people, otherwise no point having them. So these people had to learn how to do this, and you just can't do it all in a classroom. So the RAAF established a bombing range. And the bombing range they established was at a place called Warralong. And it's down between Boonah and Beaudesert. And it's got quite a history. You could drive past it today, you would not know it. And you can drive past it. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to have a little look at the history of Warralong, and also, while we're at it, the Round Mountain United States Army Detention Camp. It's just down the road a bit, where all the bad boys who were locked up, repatriated, something. But anyway, we'll have a look at the history of that, where it was actually, because it's still visible in the landscape. Anyway, you know what I'm going to say. If you dig the vibe, like and subscribe, and let's rock. Well, folks, there we're heading down to Warralong today in the old P51. Warralong, hey? Well, there's a dam there today, and there is some really nice winery there. But in 1939, there was something else there that was a little bit, less, probably quite useful. So here's the dam wall here. That's on the Teviot Brook. And there's the dam behind it, the dam wall, of course, with the lake behind it, the reservoir. And we're just going over here because this is where the Warralong homestead was, and this is where the Warralong gunnery range was. I'll show you the homestead in a bit, but yeah, the old Allisons used to come in and drop their bombs and strafe that little target, concrete target there. Let's look at it in a bit more detail. Well, folks, here we have a cadastral map from 1915 of pretty much most of southeast Queensland. I've banged two together for you, so you better an idea where it is. But here it is here. There's Teviot Brook running through there, and this is where the Warralong property was, just here. And I think in a few minutes we'll hear firsthand from somebody, which is hard to do because they're unfortunately no longer with us. But anyway. And this is where the little gunnery range was, right there. We got some more photography, but let's hear firsthand from someone who was there. So we're about to hear from Audrey Horton James, or Jean as she was known. She gave this interview in 2004, and unfortunately she passed away in 2012, but she was born at Warralong. She was born at Warralong, so, this is as good as it gets.
Anyway, I didn't join up immediately. I came home, and in the meantime, the Air Force had approached my father and asked if they could borrow a few hundred acres to have a bombing and gunnery practice ground there. It was before most of the others had opened, 1939 I think. And so we had the Air Force there coming in. Amberley would use it 1 week, and Archerfield, the second, it might have been fortnight about, I've forgotten, but the ground crew used to camp beside a big lagoon we had beside the house, and the boys would just come over and do their bombing and gunnery and go back without landing. But with 5 girls in the house, the boys used to have quite fun. They'd come up, and we had big wide verandas and gramophones, We had a big dining room table. We used to play progressive ping pong, which you probably don't know what it's like. You have one whack and put the bat down, and the next one moves in, and again you keep going round and round the table. But they used to have quite a while of a time coming up there. So the pilots found out about this after the ground crew were having a lot of fun. And so I don't know whether you've heard of the Jackson brothers, John O. Jackson, at the Port Moresby.
No, I haven't actually.
Well, they were famous air races during the war. And Port Moresby Airport is now Jackson Field, named after this John Jackson. He was the first to land up there. They used to drop message streamers down onto the lawn for us. They used to throw the paper over the first thing in the morning with the first detail that came up, and then anything if they wanted to do during the day, these message streamers would flutter down. And on this day, John Jackson dropped a message down to say he'd be having engine trouble about 11 o'clock, so any chance of a swim or something. So, and then another plane would come over and say, well, when John Jackson has his engine trouble, I'll be coming up with spare parts in what they used to call the miner Schmidt, the Moth miner. And so he was on for whatever was on. And so this became quite a polished business, this having engine trouble. We'd just get messages say about when you're going to have trouble in the planes, and down they'd come.
Well, here we are, folks, back 1945. There's the homestead with the little lake she talked about. There's the bombing range with the target still visible. This is obviously before the dam was built. Now, this dam was not welcomed. No one in the valley wanted it. Peter Beattie's government forced it on them. I understand everyone wants a dam, but no one wants it in their backyard. And there was a lot of opposition to this. So here's the dam now, and here's the homestead. You can see the homestead there, and you can still see the outline of the trees in the lake from the little lagoon, and there's the bombing range, and you can still see the target. So it's amazing stuff. So you can see the outline of the old road running through the dam there. It's pretty cool. It really is. I'm going to show you a little bit of geology now, because, this is T-Rocks. Well, folks, here we go. This is geology map. Now, geology is important because no geology, no farm. You've got to have the right soil. These cockies weren't stupid. Let me tell you, that's the farmhouse there with the lagoon next to it. There's the bombing range right there. On the other side of the ridge from the farmhouse. They weren't stupid, as I said. And this dam is here. Well, it's there now. There's not much we can do about it, but I think there were better spots for it, frankly. But anyway, a long time ago. Water under the bridges, they say. So what are we looking at here? Well, you got two colours in green. The dark green is the older rock. That's the Woogaroo group. And that is Triassic, mid-Triassic. Same stuff from Ipswich, the Woogaroo group, Woogaroo being the Aboriginal name for Wacol. The light green stuff is the Gatton Sandstone, and it doesn't look much later, but it's 100 million years. And here's a little piece of igneous down here. It comes from the tertiary period, like the Mount Warning volcano and all that stuff. So anyway, that's the geology. Now I think we should have a little look at Round Mountain Detention Camp.
Showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Captain T-Rock speaking. Welcome aboard T-Rock's Air Flight 007. This is a non-stop service from Mount Coot-tha to Mount Cotton. We're currently cruising at an altitude of about 6'4" and expect to be airborne for the entire flight. Please fasten your seatbelts and return your tray tables to the upright position, as the flight crew are experiencing a severe caffeine withdrawal, and this airline coffee just ain't cutting it. We need a major course correction and a severe caffeine injection. Luckily, you can help. Just follow the link in the QR code and you can help buy your T-Rox flight crew a coffee. And don't forget, smoking is prohibited for the duration of this flight, except for our lead flight attendant, because as we all know, she's smoking hot. Thank you for choosing T-Rox Air and enjoy your flight. So folks, here I get a great big cadastral map of South East Queensland I put together for you, and we're just going to zoom into a little town called Laravel, and just outside that is Round Mountain. And Round Mountain now is a community, it certainly wasn't then, and here it is here, and this is where the detention camp was. It was an unusual camp because there were both white Americans and African American prisoners put together, which is very unusual. The American Army was not a very nice place if you weren't white in World War II. So the US Army set up a detention and rehabilitation centre and a stores depot at Round Mountain. The prisoners were guarded by the 345th Military Police and Escort Guard Company. There's a mouthful. That insignia go right around your shoulder. The prisoners were expected to work in the quarry for a set amount of hours per week, and they did. That mountain's now half the size it was, because it's a basalt mountain. I'll show you about it in a minute. And they quarried it for metal and ballast for the road and for the railway line. You can't carry that stuff too far; it's too heavy. They were also expected to work in the camp, making pallets. And work in the lumberyard they had there, which, timber yard, lumberyard, blah, blah. And they also worked repairing shoes. So the camp raised its own pigs. It had a poultry farm containing 870 or so hens. And I know, you just can't make this up. But on 28th of August 1944, the commandant was a Lieutenant Colonel Carl Shoemaker. You can't make it up. You just can't. But anyway, let's have a look at this, because there's a little bit of geology down here. Of course, it's T-Rox, we've got to look at geology, but it's just a pretty cool place, and a lot of it is still visible, considering that was nearly 100 years ago. Well, folks, the earliest aerial photogs of this place is 1955, and you could still see all the camp, all the concrete slabs, and where the fences were. And I don't break you up, you can still see them today. Let's have a little Google Earth of this. This is only a few years old, and look, you can still see the road coming in, crossing there, where the bridge was. You can still see all the fences and what's left of Round Mountain. They did quarry it away. There's the slab for the old supply hut over there. It's all still there. Now there's farms built on it now. People are reusing those assets. Why wouldn't they? Great idea. It looks like a really nice part of the world. I must drag my carcass down there one day and have a look at this, because it looks like fun. But anyway, this is just a over-the-top, straight-down view. And of course, if we use some jiggery-pokery, we could put the World War II map over the top of it. As you can clearly see, it is all still there. All still there. I'm loving it. I love it when these maps line up. They don't line up very often, but this one does. Pretty cool. So anyway, that is the Round Mountain Detention Centre, where both black and white American prisoners were kept. Now, this is a LiDAR, and you can still see it. The LiDAR, it's hard to hide from LiDAR. Those little 1.5 metre reflective pulses from the laser, they get in. And of course, some of those old assets have been reused by the current farmers. They've used the fence lines for their own gear, as they would. Geology. Oh, you got to see the geology. Yellow, gravel, tan colour, basalt. Round Mountain, basalt. Light green, Woogaroo Group, dark green, Gatton sandstone. We've already done all that. We don't need to do it again. Obviously, younger rocks live on top of older rocks. So anyway, that's Round Mountain. It was lovely to hear Jean. I like those things. I mean, that video, if you get online, you look her name up, you'll see that it goes on for 2.5 hours. I cut the bit out that's relative to the gunnery range. but she talks about her entire life, her marriage, her children, growing up there. It's a great listen, it really is, and she's no longer with us. Reminds me a lot of the Graham Joyner review I put at the end of my video on Samson Vale House. He is also no longer with us, so at least we have that recorded. Anyway, we've got a new video coming up soon too on Joyner's Ridge, mentioning Graham Joyner, coming right up. So anyway, I think what I'll do is I'm going to get out of your way and let you replay this about 40 times, you know, YouTube. You know what I'm going to say. If you like this stuff and you dig the vibe, like and subscribe. And don't forget to keep rocking. T-Rocks out.
Nothing to do.